Michelson Morley's experiment, the aim was to measure the speed of the Earth, or the motion of the Earth, relative to the ether. And they did it at various places around the Earth's orbit, around the Sun, different seasons and different parts of the Earth as it spun, different direction, either with the ether or supposedly against the ether. And their experiment had a source of light which passed into a half-silvered mirror. Part of that light travelled towards another mirror and then bounced off, travelled down to an interference pattern or an interferometer. That same beam of light through the half-silvered mirror split into another beam which travelled the same distance exactly, bounced back and then hit the mirror and passed down. So we had a beam of light that was split into two beams, both travelling the same distance but through different paths. The interference pattern expected at the end would depend on whether the lights met in phase, which would give a bright spot, or out of phase, which would interfere destructively and give a dark area of the interferometer pattern. Okay, this entire contraption was built on a large concrete block on a bed of mercury to allow this block to be turned in any direction, to be kept perfectly level, and was measured very, very accurately. As I said before, the Earth's path around the Sun, they were able to try this experiment as the Earth moved in different directions, supposedly compared to the ether. Also on different sides of the planet, it could be tried. It could be turned at any angle to experiment and compare values of the Earth moving against the ether at any time. Their hypothesis was that the interference patterns created by this different movement of the Earth through the ether would change depending on how light was slowed down, which it wasn't, but slowed down in certain directions, a bit like a swimmer swimming across a river, swimming across compared to with the river or against the river. So the swimmer would be slowed in certain directions and light was expected to be slowed down, thus arriving at the interferometer in a different at a different place or out of phase. The results were that no interference pattern was observed. It was a null result. This meant it could make a variety of conclusions, but because there was no interference pattern, then there was a null result. Basically meant that there was no observable motion of the Earth relative to the ether. It's a very famous result. It was difficult to make any conclusions, but many scientists accepted the results as proof of a non-existence of the ether. There was no ether, therefore there was no difference in the speed of light through different parts. Others regarded the experiment, they said that the ether was dragged along with the earth, and therefore the wind didn't exist close to the earth. Others said the equipment was distorted by the ether, and therefore the distance the light travelled didn't work. Others said they were looking for the wrong measurements. They didn't measure correctly, so there's a variety. So it split scientific opinion.